there's a call now, the honorable member talk about a commission of inquiry. Nothing that we can do, either with the RSS or any person or any organization would satisfy the concerns or any proper interest in relation to this matter. And this is because persons are making political capital, monetary capital, out of these unfortunate incidents. You on that side, because you are the ones who are out there joining the demonstrations, you are beating this child, which has been determined both by forensic analysis, autopsies, and also by the investigative work of the police and the RCMP investigator, which has been basically determined insofar of all the information that we have. And this is a repeat of things which have occurred before. A repeat of the things which happened before. When we had the unfortunate issue of the Henry boys at West Coast Babis, when we had the unfortunate issue in respect of the Henry boys, it was cleared and said to be a racial attack. It was said to be something that was precipitated by the PPP. It was said to be something that had nothing to do with domestic, perhaps criminal activities between those who were involved. Nobody says that persons were placed in the prison, charged, found guilty in respect of this matter. None of the things which you said in relation to the Henry boys materialized. And again, the things that you're saying in relation to these two matters will turn out again to be not what you said they are and were. Because honorable members, at least on this side, if the others are not interested, because you want to create trouble in Guyana. You want to get power at any cost. You want to burn up and break up anything so that you could perhaps sit on this side and talk about oil money. But you had the oil money too. You had the oil money before we got it to spend. You had the oil money, and the state illegally was squatting in government too to do things which we are doing. And now you're unhappy that again that we are looking so good that perhaps almost certainly we will be returned with a larger majority in this House.
During a sitting of the National Assembly last evening, opposition member of Parliament and former General Secretary of the People's National Congress, CHANDAN-EDMOND, expressed her disappointment with the political opposition and announced her decision to endorse President Dr. Irfan Ali for a second term. However, before she could take the floor, members of the opposition attempted to block her from speaking. As she began her address, opposition MPs staged a walkout from the Arthur Chung Conference Center. Here's a look at part of her speech.
First, allow me to express my deepest gratitude to former President David Granger for the confidence he has placed in me. Guyana is my home. I love this land deeply. And as I said in my budget presentation this year, I will always bat for Guyana. I will always stand for what is right. This is not just political, it is personal. Like many of you, I am a parent. And like many of you in this House and many of you out of this House, I dream of a transformational Guyana, a nation where every child, regardless of your birthplace or background, has access to the best of education, best of health care, and the best of opportunities. I want a Guyana where our children rise not only as national leaders, but as proud global citizens, carrying the golden arrowhead with dignity. I want a Guyana that delivers for everyone. Not one voice, not a single voice rose in condemnation when I was attacked with vile, racist, and derogatory words simply because I stood for what I believed in a national budget that will bring tangible and real benefits to the people. This is not about politics, it's about conscience. It is about country, it is about character, and it is also about saying no to bullies. And you've all witnessed that tonight. There was an attempt to silence me tonight. And I say absolutely no to pettiness, because I've seen the pettiness to someone who's very dear to my heart, the late Amna Ali. And today I stand here and I say resolutely, I say yes to peace, I say yes to progress, I say yes to prosperity. Where is the maturity? Where is the compromise for the greater good of our dear land, Guyana? When this government brought forward a motion to stand united against Venezuela's unlawful threats to our sovereignty, that was a moment of national reckoning. A moment when every one of the 65 elected members of this House should have stood together. And what did the opposition do? I was part of it. We chose silence, we walked out, we chose politics over patriotism. It was not only disappointing, it was also disgraceful. It was, in every sense, a betrayal of our sacred duty. I regret, sincerely, I regret walking out on that motion. I should have stood with Guyana, and for that, I apologize. And to every one of you and to every Guyanese, I apologize for every sin, every ill I have committed, knowingly and unknowingly. And that's the teaching of my Vedic scriptures. While President Ali was defending our sovereignty, rallying international support, and standing tall for our Guyanese, the opposition faltered. So let the record reflect tonight. I stand proudly with President Irfan Ali. I stand with his leadership. I stand with his vision. And I stand with his steadfast commitment to this country. And I say to every one of you in this House and out of this House that President Ali has earned a second term, and Guyana deserves nothing less. Under his leadership, we are witnessing real change, investment in people, bold infrastructure, social upliftment, and a renewed sense of national pride. And so I fully and unapologetically endorse President Irfan Ali for a second term, because the work is not done. The transformation is still underway. And I believe with continuity and unity, Guyana will not just rise. We will lead. We will lead. And as I take my leave from this honorable House, Mr. Speaker, I do so with hope. Hope for a brighter, more inclusive, and more united Guyana. And I know some of you, some of them have left. But whoever is remaining, y'all will cuss me out, y'all will abuse me out, y'all will call me all sorts of names. And I stood tall and firm when I was called a slave catcher. Not a single one of them stood and condemned me when I was called a slave catcher. And I hold that very personal. But let me tell every one of you in this House, and those of you out of this House, and those of you who are hiding behind your keyboard, let me tell you this here very proudly. I am a product of the sugar plantation. I am a child of Chesney Albion. We just don't survive. We rise. We are strong and we are resilient. So yes, my back is broad. Literally, it is broad. My chest is strong, and I'm ready to rumble because I believe in a Guyana where leadership shows up. Not just for the applause, but for impact. I believe in leadership that doesn't appear when the cameras are off. So if it wasn't very clear during my budget speech, I'm making it very clear now. And I say yes to leadership that serves all. And yes, President Ali, with the Vice President Barjagnew, they're the leaders to take us forward. Mr. Speaker, and let me thank you personally. You could have chosen politics, but you chose empathy. You ruled with compassion. You ruled with empathy, and that is something I will never forget. You stood as a father figure when I needed one, and you know what I'm referring to. And to all Guyanese, I say to you, I've fought my demons, I've risen above my struggle, and I stand here today strong, unbreakable, and undefeated. Why? Because I am a product of the sugar plantation. I thank you all.
David Daniels, AFC's Region 7 chairman and founder of the Small Miners Association, has endorsed President Dr. Irfan Ali and the People's Progressive Party Civic for a second term. In his resignation letter submitted to the AFC, Daniels said it has become increasingly evident that the current direction and vision of the party's leadership no longer align with his values or with the urgent needs of the constituents he represents, particularly the small mining communities in Region 7 and beyond. Daniels also cited the disconnect between the party's strategic posture and the lived realities of grassroots stakeholders as a reason for his decision. Coming up, ExxonMobil in sole expert phase of resolving US $214 million cost oil dispute with government, and clear sabotage, says GUNRAJ, as another opposition walkout disrupts critical GECOM meeting. Do stay with us. More news ahead.
In today's tough driving conditions, every engine faces three powerful enemies: engine heat, pollutants, and frequent short trips. Each factor is a direct cause of engine sludge, a buildup of dirt that can block vital oilways. This triple threat demands triple protection. Castrol GTX's Triple Protect Power is engineered to fight these three main causes of engine sludge.
This Father's Day, Digicel is showing love to the real MVPs, all the father figures who hold it down every day. And we're not talking socks and ties. We're talking an 85-inch TV to watch his favorite sports and a barbecue grill fit for the king of the backyard. 4 lucky winners will take home this epic combo. Just top up $1,000 or more and boom, you're entered into the draw. Give dad the gift of entertainment. Top up now, grill and chill with Digicel this Father's Day.
Looking to bring your dream home to reality? Or simply taking on a home improvement project? Then National Hardware Limited is where you should start. Let us put that touch to your home. Choose from over 1,000 Berger Paint original hues for any surface. We are known for our trusted brands such as Westinghouse, Philips, Sadco, Rubbermaid, Pyrex, Gibson Home, and so much more. National Hardware Limited, your do-it-best store. Located in downtown Georgetown and industrial site Rhymeville.
Welcome back. You're watching the Evening News. Commissioner in the Guyana Elections Commission says GUNRAJ has condemned what he describes as a clear attempt to sabotage the electoral planning process following another walkout by opposition-nominated commissioners that disrupted a statutory meeting today. Trishel Sobers reports.
Speaking with reporters virtually on Tuesday, Guyana Elections Commission Commissioner says GUNRAJ confirmed that for the second consecutive week, an opposition walkout triggered the collapse of a statutory meeting, jeopardizing critical decisions required for election readiness. Last week, GECOM statutory meeting was halted when the 3 opposition-nominated commissioners Vincent Alexander, Desmond Trotman, and Charles Corbin staged a walkout, preventing the quorum needed for the meeting to proceed. At this week's meeting on Tuesday, 3 government nominated commissioners GUNRAJ, Clayman Rohi, Manoj Narayan were present along with two opposition nominated members, Trotman and Alexander. However, shortly after the meeting was called to order, Trotman reportedly walked out alleging he is dissatisfied with the agenda.
As a consequence, the meeting lost the quorum and we were unable to have that statutory meeting as planned. So not only were we not able to have any discussion on the matters that were not placed on the agenda item, but we were not also able to discuss matters that are related to the holding of elections. The chairman has already sent a notice for a meeting on Thursday, and as provided for by the Constitution, on Thursday the quorum is a bit different. Because it's a meeting adjourned on account of the lack of quorum or losing quorum, the chairman and any three commissioners who are present on Thursday constitutes a quorum.
Under current procedures, the quorum for statutory meetings requires the presence of the chairperson and at least two commissioners from both the government and opposition sides. However, GUNRAJ revealed that a revised quorum structure consisting of the chairman and any three commissioners has been invoked under constitutional provisions to allow GECOM's work to continue.
So far, my perusal of that approved work plan does not reveal any major impact that can be had by these walkouts and sustained walkouts. But it's a dynamic process, and I will want to keep my options open in relation to that. So to say definitively whether their walking out will affect the data or the holding of elections, I don't want to make that quantum leap at this point.
So far, he said GECOM's approved work plan remains achievable and preparations continue at pace. The continuous registration process concluded on May 30 and claims and objections will begin later this month. Additionally, nomination day has been announced for Sunday, July 14, 2025, which will allow for the submission of lists of candidates for the upcoming general and regional elections. On the designated day, the Chief Election Officer will be available to receive the list between the hours of 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. at the Humaniana located on High Street, Kingston, Georgetown. Several important deadlines accompany the submission of these lists. The following day, July 15, is reserved for notifying the CEO in writing of any death or withdrawal of a candidate. Also on this day, the CEO will inform representatives and their deputies of any defects found in submitted lists. By July 17, corrected lists must be submitted and further notification of any withdrawals must also be made. On July 18, GECOM will issue notifications regarding the approval or non-approval of the candidates list. Parties dissatisfied with disapprovals may lodge appeals with the High Court by July 20. General and regional elections will be held on September 1. Trishelle Sobers, Evening News.
ExxonMobil Guyana Limited is currently in the sole expert phase of attempting to resolve the dispute it has with the government over the US $214 million that were flagged by the first cost oil audit of its expenses between 1999 and 2017. Here are the details from Gerald Bryan.
On Tuesday, ExxonMobil Guyana Vice President John Colling, in his first media briefing, was asked about the status of the cost oil audits into the company's expenses. British company IHS Markit had audited Exxon and its co-venturers for the period 1999 to 2017 and had flagged US $214 million in cost oil expenses as disputable. The 2016 production sharing agreement had provided for a sole expert to be given a chance to resolve the controversy. According to Colling, they are still in that phase.
That is one of the provisions, and I think that's been made public. And we work through that process cooperatively with the government as prescribed under the petroleum agreement.
He also noted that they remain in constant communication with the government on the issues raised in the audits. This includes submitting whatever additional information is being requested by local authorities.
So the audits, it's a very common process under our petroleum agreements all around the world. We are working very closely with the government and their consultants on all three audits. It's very common as part of that process for exceptions and questions to be raised, and we are working closely with the government to resolve those questions, to provide additional information, and to come to a resolution on the audits. That first audit covers a very long period of time, from 1999 to 2017. So there's actually a lot of information that we need to go through with the government, and there's a lot of back and forth that occurs under a process that is prescribed under the petroleum agreement. So it is, from my perspective, something that's worth taking the time to go back and forth with the government to find a resolution that is acceptable for everyone. And that's precisely what we're doing, and we're following the process under the petroleum agreement and working cooperatively with the government to come to a resolution.
The second audit was done by a consortium of local and international firms, VHE Consulting, for the period 2018 to 2020, with Exxon in discussion with the government on the findings. Moreover, VHE Consulting also won the contract to conduct the third cost oil audit for 2021 to 2023. Jarrell Bryan, The Evening News.
From learning about investing on the stock market and trading with cryptocurrency, youths across the region are being trained in financial literacy during a week-long activity organized by the University of Guyana and the Jamaica Stock Exchange. Michael Henry tells us more.
The University of Guyana and Jamaica Stock Exchange have collaborated to host an event called Money Week from June 3 to 5 under the theme Build Your Financial Future Dollar by Dollar. During the event, which is being held at UG's Turkian campus and can be accessed by participants from around the region via Zoom, in-depth focus will be placed on areas such as the stock market and cryptocurrency. The event kicked off with an opening ceremony on Tuesday at the George Walkouts Lecture Theatre Turkian campus. During the launch, Vice-Chancellor of the University of Guyana, Professor Paloma Mohammed Martin, highlighted how accessible it is to enter the Guyana stock market.
We also would like to thank George Edwards and the team from the Guyana Stock Exchange because, of course, many people still don't know that Guyana has a stock exchange and that there are many great Guyanese companies that are listed on that stock exchange and that you don't need a huge amount of money to actually invest in our stock exchange. You can invest with as little as $5,000, $10,000. And you have great Guyanese companies that are listed, and you have some companies that actually manage our brokers.
She added that throughout the session, focus will also be lent to cryptocurrency and Bitcoin.
We also have some films on things like Bitcoin and cryptocurrency and how that really works and how we need to prepare as a nation for these, what is already upon us and how we understand how they affect the economy, etc. So these are futuristic and present things. We also have a session by, we have several what we call icon panels, because one of the things that happens is that a lot of our young people and persons who are into business believe that when they see a big name on a building, first of all, that these things happened overnight. So we have these panels during the week of persons who are telling you the stories of how they got to where they are.
Meanwhile, Guyana's Chief Investment Officer, Dr. Peter Ramsrup, also delivered remarks at the opening ceremony where he emphasized that the development of the Guyana stock market depends on collective effort.
So when you look at what your market is like, it's not a million or less people in Guyana. The market is the region. And that's where your money is, and that's where you will make money. So if you can take some of those concepts, study where Guyana is going, look at where you fit, follow the public policy, public direction, tie it to the private sector initiatives, and I think we'll have a great country, and the 1GY stock will continue to grow if we are all part of it.
Michelle Henry, The Evening News.
Retired Justice Adrian Saunders, a respected figure in regional jurisprudence and a longtime member of the Caribbean Court of Justice, has been praised by Guyana's judiciary for his pivotal role in strengthening the country's justice system. Kelroy Williams has the story.
On Tuesday, the Caribbean Court of Justice (CCJ) convened a special sitting to commemorate Justice Adrian Saunders' retirement from office as president of the regional court. Held at Queen's Hall in Port of Spain, Trinidad and Tobago, the event brought together senior judicial figures from across the Caribbean to honor and show their support for the outgoing president. Speaking at the special sitting was Chief Justice of Guyana, Justice Roxanne George, who labeled Justice Saunders as a guiding force in Guyana's judicial development.
Justice Saunders has been a guiding force for Guyana's judiciary, making himself available to attend our judicial conferences and court ceremonies. A respectful, kind, warm, and engaging person, I regard Justice Saunders as a mentor, from whom I have learned so much since 2011, when he welcomed me as a member of the Management Committee of the Caribbean Association of Judicial Officers. He leaves an indelible repository of jurisprudence on the legal landscape of the Caribbean, and indeed the Commonwealth, and is a demonstration of why we must not be afraid to embrace our own.
Chancellor of the Judiciary in Guyana, Justice Yonit Cummins Edwards, highlighted Justice Saunders' unwavering commitment to mentoring members of the local legal fraternity, emphasizing the lasting impact of his guidance on the development of Guyana's judiciary.
I must express deep gratitude to His Honor for his service to Guyana, particularly exemplified in numerous cases coming from our country, in which he presided and gave rich judicial guidance and settled the law in a number of areas. Sir, you took the time to come to Guyana, not only for the itinerant sitting of the court, but also to provide mentorship, training, and support to us.
Moreover, Justice Winston Anderson, the designated president of the CCJ, expressed his gratitude to the outgoing president for his numerous contributions in strengthening the CCJ as the premier judicial authority in the Caribbean region.
My brother and colleague, the Honorable Mr. Justice Adrian Dudley Saunders, has provided this region with 48 years of substantial and impactful legal service. Through his work, he has shown an unwavering commitment to justice, promoted the rule of law, and championed judicial reform and education, while remaining deeply committed to the intellectual and legal growth of the Caribbean people.
In 2005, Justice Saunders was among the first cohort of judges to join the CCJ bench. He is a founding member of the Caribbean Association of Judicial Officers (CAJO) and has served as the organization's chairman since its inception in 2009. During his address at the event to mark his retirement, Justice Saunders conveyed his strong confidence that the current members of the CCJ will diligently uphold and build upon the legacy he has worked to establish.
I demit office convinced that the CCJ ship is in fine shape and good hands. The court has grown tremendously from a mere idea to a formidable institution recognized internationally for its commitment to excellence.
Kelroy Williams, The Evening News.
And now for a look at the bridge reports.
The Demerara Harbour Bridge will be closed to vehicular traffic on Wednesday, June 4, 2025 at 0 hours 15 for a period of 1.5 hours. Meanwhile, the Barbados River Bridge is scheduled to be closed to vehicular traffic at 10 hours 50 on Wednesday, June 4, 2025, also for a period of 1.5 hours.
RCB lift IPL trophy after 18 years, and Elite League Ansgrove GDF register important wins. These stories and more coming up in this evening's Sportcast, sponsored by Macorp.
Hi, I'm Timothy Ramjan, and this is Macorp Rental. We have the right equipment and generator for your coming project. Call me on 698-8116. Macorp, let's do the work.
Business owners, it's time to level up with SylviesOnline.com. Shopping with us is a breeze. Browse online and plan your purchase. Check real-time stock availability. Enjoy expert in-store assistance. Whether you're on-site or in the office, shop at SylviesOnline.com. Visit SylviesOnline.com today and make your next big upgrade easy. SylviesOnline.com, your partner in productivity.
Premier insurance coverage for less. Stay safe.
On the job, you know how it goes. 1 minute, everything's going right, and the next, something goes wrong. Don't worry, Premier Insurance will make things right again. For all risks insurance, call 223-0840 or visit premierinsurance.ui. Fuel your success. Premier insurance coverage for less.
Did you know that local businesses are now providing 100% of several key services to the oil and gas sector? This highlights the significant achievements in local content development. In 2020, only 5% of selected services were provided by Guyanese companies. Presently, that number has reached 100%. Some of the fully Guyanese provided services include scaffolding, transportation and immigration support, with the inclusion of visa applications. The expansion of local capacity has led to increased investments and job creation. Hundreds of companies are benefiting from the oil and gas industry, and so can you. To access opportunities like these in the oil and gas sector, visit the local